tūpuna o te wahi nei, Missy Saga of the New Credit. Haudesone, Anishinaabe, Wendat, ka nui te mihi aroha ki a koutou. He mana whiri ahau, no Aotearoa New Zealand, no Ngāti Tūkorehea ahau, no te whānau wehi peihana ahau. Tēnā rā koutou katoa. Home, wā kāinga, hau kāinga. This is just a small part of my place within Aotearoa New Zealand. It's actually a fantastically big photo within the Tararua Ranges right through to the Kuku-Oho estuary. But what I'm showing you here is just a small portion of that land. It is the ancestral land of Ngāti Tūkorehea and our hapu. It's our spiritual home. It's our economic base. It's a farm, you can see, it's green, it's cleared. It belongs to hapu, or hapu belong to it. And hapu is a word that refers to being pregnant, but it also refers to people connected and belonging to that land. So I show you this land because this is my homeland. And this is the work, it's kind of the basis of what I do in Aotearoa. This is the Kuku-Oho estuary. So that beautiful estuarine piece you saw at the beginning, this is a beautiful estuary of great significance to our people. But there's things going on at the moment. There's been a lot of issues in New Zealand about fresh water into the marine. People like to think New Zealand is clean and green and some fantastic kind of place where everything seems to be happening so well. However, it's not. Don't be fooled. Our water quality is really poor. We've kind of dedicated our lives and our land to agricultural bases or economic bases that are perhaps not doing our people so good. So that fresh water system into the marine has been compromised quite significantly by agriculture. So why am I here today? I'm here to talk to you about some of those things that we've done to protect it. I'm here to talk to you about some of the things we're doing. We're a coastal island, Aotearoa, North Island, South Island, Te Ika ao Maui, Te Waiponamu. We are surrounded by water, and that water's coming at us. So with climate change, we've got a lot of kind of considerations to take on board. So how are we doing this? In regards to the work I do, okay, I do research leadership. I'm also head of an art school at a university in Wellington, Massey University. Whiti o Rehua is the name of our art school. But why do I do all this research work about adaptation strategies or transition action plans? Because we're in trouble. And I think everyone recognises today in this world, and hopefully more so for the people in the state below us, below Canada, that climate change is with us. And we are feeling those effects, and the thresholds are appearing in land that we so care for. So, how are we doing this? For 20 years, I've been restoring water bodies with a group of people from our homelands. And we've been doing wetlands, but we've extended that to do stream systems from dune lake systems. We've been doing it from larger water bodies on the coastline. And we've been trying to get the relationships happening between freshwater, seawater, the relationships between people and their whenua or their lands, and trying to reinvigorate and revitalise those connections. So 20 years of active revitalisation, 20 years of reconnecting people to their land and homelands again. And that's part of a revolution of iwi and hapu leading the way in Aotearoa. And we're doing things by bringing, I'm an artist, I can't take the art out of the girl, so we bring the artists together. We bring the designers together, because we need to be showing people what this looks like, what adaptation strategies might look like. We bring sciences together. We bring climate change scientists with geomorphologists, fluvial geomorphologists, they're the people who study flooding. We bring a range of people. We bring ecological economics together, but we also bring designers. So those designers are landscape architects, and together we work on projects that make change. So what I'm showing you now very quickly is in our ancestral landscape, this is a series of sheds on our tribe's farm, Tahamata Incorporation, a series of sheds where we had an exhibition. So all this research that we've been doing, all these findings we've been pulling together, we put them into exhibitions and we show people what the potential of what could happen for our futures. So this is the exhibition site. It's a dairy shed. Here's another aspect of it. It's a disused dairy shed, and we spent some time cleaning it up to have an expression of some of the exhibitions called whakapapa exhibitions, and this exhibition was called Whakatairangitia, Rere ki uta, rere ki tai, which means proclaim it to the sea, proclaim it to the land. And we brought all our research together using Māori concepts to underpin everything we do. So whakapapa is a genealogical reference system which ties everything together. It's literally the conceptual basis, that's the glue that holds everyone together. People, lands, waters, animals, spiritual context, conceptual concepts, it all comes together with whakapapa. So we had a shed that we called the whakapapa shed, and it was the oldest shed amongst the complex. These are just some of the images from that exhibition we had. Vision banners that had been made by our people and put together by a text designer. We had another shed called the hikoi, because some of the things about doing this research with all these people is that we spent many days, many weeks, many months walking this whenua, walking the land, knowing its problems and how to address them. So the hikoi shed was where we had the big banners there that show what things are going to look like for our coastline in 100 years. So from actually I'll go back, zero, showing just what the estuary looks like now, and then what it's going to look like in 100 years when the water's really coming in. Anyway, master's students, we bring them together to kind of not only learn a context about working with iwi and hapu on the ground, but also for them to help us with the solutions to the problems we face. So hikoi as a methodology, walking, talking the land, getting the students involved. We've got the korero tuku iho shed, which was about the oral narratives of our place. And I think our elder expressed it so beautifully this morning, and Wanda's just explained it again from an Anishinaabe perspective, is that korero tuku iho, or oral narratives, are what we need to be listening to bring that into our research process. Our audience, these are the people who come to our exhibitions. Now, many of these people here, many of them are my relations, but also many of them are researchers from the other projects that are happening in the climate change world. Things happen when we have these exhibitions as well, which is quite fantastic. A beautiful rainbow, or our uenuku from our tribal traditions, emanated from the ground after the exhibition had finished. And everyone stood by the stream, the poor, damaged Kuku stream, and looked at that uenuku and said, we're doing the right thing. And we had aunties crying. We had, I think I was crying too. But it was a wonderful kind of acknowledgement that perhaps what we're doing is the right thing. I'll just take you quickly in my last minute and 15 seconds, is that whakatairangitia not only expressed itself on ancestral land in our world, but we also took it to an art gallery in Wellington at the Das Art Museum, and they asked us to be involved in a project called the exhibition, This Time of Useful Consciousness, Political Ecology Now. So whakatai, proclaim it to the sea, proclaim it to the land, went to town. And again, we showed in an exhibition space, we showed the banners, we showed the knowledge, we showed the science, we showed the students' work, we showed the connections that had happened between the knowledge systems, and particularly the way we'd grounded it in a Mātauranga Māori perspective. Another view. And the other good thing about working with a climate change scientist, he's also a photographer. So he took a lot of our photos, which was fantastic. So for you all, I just leave you with the sense of what we need to be doing now, and it's happening more and more, and it's one of the things as the head of School of Art, is bringing more Indigenous knowledge systems into our art and design schools. because it's this kind of knowledge system of interconnectedness and interdependency is what this world needs now. Ka nui te mihi aroha ki a koutou.
And thanks for coming 21 hours on a flight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's interesting. There's just last week, we had an event between the artist Mel Chin and this activist named Elizabeth Jean-Pierre, who runs this organization called Uprose, who's an environmental justice organization based in Brooklyn. And she was talking quite emphatically about what's the devastation that's occurred in Puerto Rico. And in particular, because it is such a assured sign of climate change. Yeah. But it's also climate change decimating a particular part of the United States without any kind of formal concern on a policy or even media level. I bring that up because I'm interested in not only the kind of racialization of climate change, but also when I think about, I think like the kind of struggle is really hitting people in the teeth so hard. How do you, in terms of your audience and your community that you're building towards, there's certain kinds of, I wonder like just where do you see the strategy in New Zealand, and also are you working internationally with other groups in terms of kind of resistance movement?
We're definitely working with other groups. We're starting to work with a lot more with other people, and I'm finding more and more people all the time that we need to engage with and work with. But in regards to the kind of, the racialization of climate change, it's affecting everybody. Houston, I mean, you have to be mad not to think it's not going to happen again. If you do your urban planning on top of lands that actually were they were meant to be there for flooding, okay, it's like, well, you make a big mistake. I'm not too worried about Houston per se, but Florida Keys, it's all happening. So if you choose to continue to ignore it, well, you just have to go, well, that's problematic for those people. But for somewhere like Puerto Rico, that's already suffers the kind of ills of global economics and the impacts of that, it seems so constantly unfair that they keep the most marginalised or the ones who have the most difficult lives just keep getting hammered. But anyway, what we can do, I tend to look at it now as that we do our piece of the planet and we're joining up our piece of the planet with lots of other pieces of the planet of people who are doing the same kind of stuff, and the message will eventually get through. I'm not particularly, as I say, with Houston, I'm not particularly worried about people who cannot see it when it's here. I have to go, forget them, move on and help the others that need the help. But yeah.
Thank you, Huhana. Thank you so much.
Good.